In this video, we're looking at properties of parallel lines, and we use the angle pairs here, alternate interior, exterior, corresponding, same side interior and exterior angles for properties of parallel lines. If you're not familiar with these angle pairs, please see my video, angle pairs formed by a transversal, because I go into a little more detail about their relationship. But in this video, we're looking at properties of parallel lines. So we're going to use these angle pairs to show something about these particular angles. So properties of parallel line states that if a transversal, so remember a transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. So if a transversal intersects two parallel lines, then the alternate interior, alternate exterior, and corresponding angles are congruent. So remember congruent, we have that equal sign with a little squiggly line over it. That means that they have the same angle measure. Okay. And the same side interior and exterior angles would equal 180 degrees. So they are supplementary, meaning they equal 180 degrees. So if transversal intersects two parallel lines, these lines show, or I'm showing that these lines are parallel by the markings here. So angles or lines M and N are parallel. These three angle pairs here are congruent, and these two are supplementary, meaning they equal 180. So our alternate interior angles, 3 and 6. So we could say that angle 3 is congruent to angle 6. Inside of our parallel lines, opposite sides of the transversal. And angles 4 is congruent to angle 5. Our alternate interior angles, alternate exterior, 1 and 8. So we could say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 8, and 2 and 7. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. We have corresponding, so we have 4 pair of corresponding angles. Remember, corresponding angles are in the same position on the transversal and their respective lines. So 1 and 5 are congruent. I'm actually going to erase this a little bit to give myself a little more space. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 5, corresponding 2 and 6. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 6, 3 and 7. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 7, and 4 and 8. So angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. All right, so now we have our consecutive angles. They're supplementary, so they equal 180. So our consecutive or same side interior angles are 3 and 5 and 4 and 6. So I'm actually going to write it down here. So our same side interior angles are 4 and 5. So, well, maybe I can squeeze it in. No, I cannot. So I'm going to write it down here. So same side interior. So 3, so angle 3 plus angle 5 is equal to 180 degrees. And angle 4 plus angle 6 is equal to 180 degrees. And same side exterior angles, I'm going to try to fit it in here. So 1 and 7, angle 1 plus angle 7 equals 180, and 2 and 8. So angle 2 plus angle 8 is equal to 180 degrees. And so these are just properties of parallel lines. And so if you have a transversal cut by, if a transversal cuts two parallel lines, alternate interior, exterior, and corresponding angles are congruent, meaning they have the same measure, and consecutive or same side interior and exterior angles are supplementary, meaning they equal 180 degrees. Now let's use properties of parallel lines to figure out the measure of all of the angles right here. So as an example, if angle 2 is 60 degrees, using this information, I could figure out the rest of my angle pairs. So angle 2, that's on the outside. So I could say alternate exterior angles are angles 2 and 7, or they are, right? So if angle 2 is 60, angle 7 would also be 60 degrees. And let's look at the corresponding angle to angle 7. The corresponding angle would be angle 3. They will also be congruent as well. Now I could figure out angle 6, because what kind of angles are angles 3 and 6? Angles 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles. So that will be 60 as well. I can figure out the rest. So now using knowledge of a linear pair. So remember, a linear pair. All right. Remember, the root word for linear is line, and the degree of a straight angle, which is a line, is equal to 180 degrees. And a linear pair actually creates a straight line. So if we're looking at angles 1 and 2, they share this straight line here, line N. So they equal, or their sum is 180 degrees. So if angle 2 is 60, what would be the measure of angle 1? Hopefully you're thinking 120. If you are, that is correct. You simply subtract 180 minus 60. Now I can figure out angle 5, because what are angles 1 and 5? Angles 1 and 5 are corresponding. So that would also be 120. Also, 5 and 4. What kind of angles are 4 and 5 or 5 and 4? They are alternate interior angles. And so that equals 120 as well. And angle 8, I can figure that out because angles 4 and 8 are corresponding. So they also are congruent, so they equal 120. Now, just analyzing the consecutive or the same side interior and exterior angles. The consecutive angles are on the same side of the transversal, and so it should equal 180, right? So if we knew that the measure of angle 3 is 60, we could have simply subtracted 180 minus 60 to get 120, because these are same side interior, so they equal 180. Same thing for 4 and 6, and the same thing for 1 and 7, same side exterior. If you know 1, you can just subtract from 180 here. And so we can find the measure of all of our angles here if we just have one angle using our knowledge of the angle pairs and properties of parallel lines.